Hello, dear friends. Here we are, The Medium's Harvest. The Medium's Harvest is a book by Emmanuel, written through the mediumistic effort of Xavier. And this book came originally in Portuguese, in Brazil, published by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation in 1961, when the Medium's book was completing 100 years of its publication. The Medium's book, for those who are not aware, is the second book written by Allan Kardec as a compilation of the teachings of the spirits. After the first one, the Spirit's book, which was published 160 years ago. Yes, and Emmanuel comes to us in the Medium's Harvest to teach us about mediumship, but mediumship under the light of Spiritism, which is the same as if we say mediumship with Jesus, mediumship under the moral ethical code of Jesus. It's a completely different approach to mediumship, and it's a mediumship that is used not only to help others but also to transform ourselves. Many people become mediums and they feel free from the actual need to improve themselves. They feel being a medium is a gift in itself. They are better or more than anybody else. They are not exactly supposed to learn anything. Actually, it's quite a misconcept. In Spiritism, we learn the reverse. Medium is not a gift in the sense of a privilege. It's actually a concession to help us evolve and boost our progress. By using mediumship to repair the mistakes of the past and correcting ourselves, since we may potentially understand more about the continuity of life. Mediumship in the light of Spiritism is different. It brings to us new perspective, responsibility. It's about discernment, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Today we're studying the book Seara dos Médiuns, The Medium's Harvest, the chapter 39, which is about interpretation. Interpretation is the title, but Emmanuel was inspired by a specific question and answer between Kardec and the spirits of the mediums that came through the mediums of the time. In the Medium's book by Kardec, the item was 223, sub-item 6. Let us read it and see how Emmanuel develops what the spirits brought to us at Kardec's time. Kardec asked the spirits in chapter 19, Identity of Spirits, sub-item 6 of 223. Does the communicating spirit transmit its thought directly, or does it use the medium's incarnate spirit as an intermediary? It's as if Kardec is asking, do the spirits simply speak through the medium, or does the spirit use the mind of the spirit to speak through? It's as if he was asking whether the spirit plays a role in the communication itself, okay? The medium's spirit, says the spirit, is the interpreter because it is connected to the body which serves for the communication. And because this link between you and the communicating spirits is necessary, just as an electric wire is necessary for transmitting news over a distance, and an intelligent person is necessary on either end of the wire to receive and communicate. Bottom line, Kardec reveal to us the teachings of the Spirit, saying mediums are not neutral. And that's one of the myths in mediumship. People think, oh, I'm a medium. But where are the colors of yours in this communication? Just to give a simple analogy, it's like a letter, okay, that we receive as a post, a mailman, a mail woman, okay? I take a letter, hold it. Even if I don't open it, my fingerprints are gonna be on it. I leave some in this message. Not even talking about those who don't know how to write and they ask somebody to write for them. The letter is theirs. They are the ones who are putting their own subjective writing on it, their personalization onto it. Even if the message is clear-cut what people are saying. How many people do you know in previous generations or in some other parts of the earth, when they are registering their children after birth, they told the person, look, my son is going to be called X. And the person wrote XX. I'm just giving you a silly example. And then nowadays we ask, why did that person had this name? Well, because actually the person who was writing didn't understand what the father said. So they wrote in a different way, and that's why their name was not exactly what the parents wanted. So that's how interesting it is, the role that we play in the communication. Just like communicating between us, between people. How many people? The other day, I gave a talk in Brazil somewhere, and I mentioned something. Later, somebody wrote to me and said, Vanessa, you said this, that, and the other. And I said, no. Here is the talk. Please listen to it again, because that's not what I said. So it's incredible how people can twist, misinterpret messages that were completely different from what people said. When we study the psychology of communication, and I had an opportunity as a director of behavioral sciences at the University of Maryland to teach a whole lot of lessons on that regard. And the theorists and the people who, the social psychologists who study it, they show how many different types of noises happen between those who send a message and those who receive the message, and the intermediary. There are so many obstacles. If communication would be that easy, we wouldn't have the problems we have on the earth. Majority, if not 100% of the problems we have on the earth are byproducts of our misconceptions, misunderstandings, difficulty in putting action in common. That's what communication is. Communication is about putting an action in common. It's about an action in common. And that's why it's not simple. We wish. That's why we record every time. Because if people say anything, please rewind the tape, listen to it again, and make sure that you get it. And books are good for it because you can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Right? So today, Emmanuel, inspired by this item we just read in the Medium's book, he wrote chapter 39 named Interpretation in the book The Medium's Harvest. Let us read it and see what Emmanuel discloses to us. There was a meeting on May 30th, 1960, based on item 223 of the Medium's book, sub-item 6. Emmanuel then wrote through Chico Xavier, it is not so much of phenomena that the Lord needs in order to be evident among human beings. Although phenomena are able to establish conviction, the spectacle that amazes rarely helps to discern. A meteor shower raises scientific observations, but it does not interfere with matters of conduct. It is not so much words that the Lord needs in order to reveal himself amongst human beings, although words are indispensable resources in the extension of the kingdom of God. The discussion that confuses rarely helps to discern. The noblest speaker can be represented on a record player. It is not so much of reasoning that the Lord needs in order to appear amongst human beings, although reasoning cooperates in the sublimation of intelligence. The calculation that exaggerates, rarely helps to discern. The electronic brain is a precious helper of the head, but it does not know the matters of the heart. It is not so much of money that the Lord needs in order to externalize among human beings, although money is an important element in the cultivation of the good. Gold that idles rarely helps to discern. A bank does not have books to register feelings. It is not so much of competitions that the Lord needs in order to patent himself among human beings, although competitions collaborate in the conquest of skills. Passionate competition rarely helps to discern. The aristocratic crowd that squeezes in the turf from time to time screams and cries, applauding a winner, and that winner is always a horse. To be faithful in interpreting the Lord together with those surrounding us, we need above all patience and love, because only patience works without ceasing, building progress and understanding, and only love is the power that rarely transforms life. It's always striking how Emmanuel, first of all, he seizes the teachings that the Spirit brought to us miles ahead of us. He goes from Kardec and the Superior Spirits revealing to us how the medium inevitably becomes an interpreter of the mediums, meaning if we don't refine ourselves, polish ourselves, we are going to decharacterize the message. And sometimes we may change it completely because it depends on our own interpretation. That's why the Spirit said we need to instruct ourselves. So the mediums who say, I already read, I already know, I don't need to read more, I don't need to study more, I have a lot of experience. Emmanuel is coming to us and saying, I'm so sorry, but there is always another level of instruction, another level of learning. And today, I saw the comment of somebody who watched our interview with Dr. Eben Alexander, which is both on the Facebook of Kardec Radio and also on the YouTube of Kardec Radio. Many people watch it and make comments. And one person made a comment today. I don't know who the person is, and we respect, but we need to make a comment. The person said, that they disagree that the earth is a school because we are actually perfect beings and we don't need to learn anything. That is quite difficult to understand because our reasoning tells us that there is a lot for us to learn, and science proves to us day in, day out that we're learning beings. We have an inbuilt mechanism to learn, and that is the brain. Your brain, my brain, the physical we're talking about. The physical brain in itself, we have living proof that it responds to stimulus, that it responds to experiences, that it changes its morphology, the morphology of the neurons, which is the form, the anatomy. It changes its dynamics, its physiology, so much so that we change our neurotransmission as we speak. Today, I was reading a study that was showing to us that sometimes for people who have insomnia, anxiety, it's good to have a weighted blanket on them. Science is showing to us that some form of weighted blanket activates some neurotransmitters that may change our sleeping pattern, our anxiety. So we are talking about stimulus and a body that responds to stimulus. And depending on the frequency and the intensity, we're going to change their neurotransmission and the way we feel, which shows to us that we are learning beings. So if science proves to us that we learn, this is not a concept that came from high above. It's proved in the material body. We physiologically have a brain that no matter if you're aging, if you expose yourself to new environments, you're going to create new neurons, and those new neurons are going to give you new life. Your physiology is going to change. Just by practicing relaxation breathing, like Dr. Herbert Benson has taught us at Harvard University for more than 3 decades, relaxation breathing can change the activation of our genes. You may deactivate genes or activate others just by breathing in a relaxing pattern, what Dr. Benson defined as relaxation breathing. So what is it? If you are curious about it and you haven't heard it before, it's when you breathe, breathing in through the nose, inflating the lower abdomen, breathing in, hold it, breathe out slowly, deflating little by little, as if you have a balloon in your belly. One more time. You feel it? It changes. It's real. Your physiology is changed. 3 deep, relaxing breaths activate the parasympathetic system, which is the autonomic system inside of us. The opposite of the stress mechanism, which is the sympathetic. Right, Cesar? So when you do this relaxation breathing, and if you do it persistently for 8 weeks in a row every day, And he said, Dr. Benson, it could be through breathing simply, meditation, prayer. Because when you pray, you're in the relaxation breathing, says Dr. Benson. Makes sense. When you're doing yoga, when you're reading a soothing book, probably when you are in a spiritist meeting, those are changing our breathing pattern to a more relaxing one. We're activating our parasympathetic system. And when we activate our parasympathetic, we're also changing the activation of our genes. And we may deter diseases from escalating and even reverse. So these are just thoughts for us to show how our physiology responds to stimulus, like Emmanuel said yesterday. So of course, we are here on the earth to learn. And one of the things that we need to learn as mediums is to be better interpreters. How do I become a better interpreter? Okay. And they say, it's not about phenomena. Oh, if I mesmerize the crowd, wow, I become a magician. A rabbit in my head. Wow, Vanessa is a super medium. And Emmanuel say, no. A meteor shower may raise scientific observation, but it does not change the way people act in life. I've seen many people sing painting mediumship sessions. And I doubt exceptions exist. They are valid, but I doubt, and I have never seen few cases. But majority, there's no change. I've seen people who told me they've experienced healing. They're back on the same life. It happened to Jesus. People were healed and they were back to the same life. Phenomena does not change conduct. Words. Oh, but if I explain to people as mediums, I'm going to speak and speak and speak. You can record yourself, as Emmanuel is saying. Yeah. But not necessarily. People are going to change. Reasoning. Some people think that through science, spiritism, is going to gain the crowds. No, spiritism came for the suffering ones. It didn't come for the proud scientists. It came for those who are suffering. And money. But if I have money, some people have that illusion that if mediums are supported by people who are billionaires, they can boost, and that happened before in the history of humanity. And they say, well, but banks do not register feelings, so it's not about money either. Competition, though Emmanuel says, it's quite interesting. Competitions may be valid in the sense of people willing to evolve and to find discoveries, so it's good as long as we don't destroy anybody. But he says, competitions can be like horse racing, as he says. What's the point? At the end of the day, if I want to be a faithful interpreter, as Emmanuel says, to be a faithful interpreter of the teachings, together with people around us. Before we continue, what is to be a good interpreter? Is it the good spirits say A, and I say A. B, I say B. C, I say C. Is that what is a good interpreter? Not in the spiritual teachings. Emmanuel says to be a faithful interpreter, we need above all two things: patience and love. patience, and love. Why? Why? Because only patience works without stopping. Aha! Aha! That's the secret. Many people, they work on spiritism, they work as mediums, and one day life crashes them because it's not easy. People are going to misinterpret. People are going to do this and the other, and then they say, you know what, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop because it's not working. People don't understand me. I'm going to retreat. The person's not patient. Stay there. Humble yourself. Don't wait for the applause of anybody. Please don't. Because the applause of the world doesn't mean the applause of God. When the world is applauding us too much, it's a sign. If it's nowadays on the earth, it's probably that we're not really pushing hard. Because when we're really pushing hard to do what we need to do, Jesus said it. You'll be persecuted. People will not understand you. He said it right there. He said, if it happened to me, it's going to happen to you. Let's not make the mistake of stopping ever. Keep on going. Keep on going. Because only patience works without stopping, building progress and understanding. You see, it's not that patience that crosses the arm and says, okay, I'm going to wait for people to understand me. No, 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 no. It is in giving that we receive. It is in understanding that we understand. No, we're not going to cross our arms and wait for people to understand. We're going to build progress and build understanding. So, like Jesus, if here there is a closed door, go somewhere else. Like Paul, he knocked on the Greeks' door, ancient Greece. He was like, wow, they will certainly understand this. They're wise. They're rational. He goes there, talks about it, people laugh at him. He leaves feeling distraught in his heart. He's like, wow, I can't believe they didn't get it. But did he stop? Did he keep knocking on that door? No. He left. And where did he go? He went where people were open to learn. In this huge world, especially nowadays with the internet, Facebook, social media, make available your services, your pathway of interpretation of these teachings by being patient and continuously working. Even if X, Y, Z don't understand, leave them alone. They have the right not to understand. But we're not going to stop because they don't understand. We respect, but we respect ourselves. Self-love. As Thich Nhat Hanh posted today, if we don't learn how to love ourselves, which is a Christ-conscious teaching, universal, if I don't learn to love myself, I'm not going to be able to love others. So, I love myself. I go and share what is good for me. But I'm not going to wait for others to understand. I go where people are ready. Right? Leia Severo is reminding us here through Kardec Radio that on day 28, we studied the same question, 223, but sub-items 7 and 8, which was interesting. Why? Because it may organize this way. Oh, you're saying organize this way. I need to review, study it again. Thank you, Leah. So Leah is saying, on 28, since we're in a big classroom, thank you for the reminder. Let's see what Leah is reminding us of. 28 was about let us work. And he says exactly that if you seek the Lord in an effort to assist life, the Lord shall also seek you for help in supporting it. So that's why we need to, the Divine Master awaits us to be an instrument, to purify our emotions, sublimate our thoughts, educate our speech, refine our actions, perfect ourselves. And I think you're right, Leah. The order of this book really makes more sense because he is evolving. He is accumulating. He's going deeper and deeper into the understanding of the actions of a medium, the attitude of a medium. So if we are already working, now we need to polish our interpretation. And he's saying to be a good interpreter as a medium, we need to be patient. And to be patient is to work without stopping. And to create progress and understanding. And also, love is the only power that really transforms love. Let us meditate a little more on love. Because love is feeling. It's an action, but it's also feeling. We are using much of this frontal chakra, reasoning, but we need the foundation of feeling. Opening our hearts. How do we open our hearts? The golden rule. It can light up the heart. It's as if it's a match, and let's light it up. The fire of love. Let's say I am making a comment about somebody. I can't believe this person, which is common. We do it. First question. Mentor Joseph says, think of Jesus, what he said. If you were that person, would you like that that person said that about you? No. No, it's not fair. They're talking about me. They're not even asking I cannot even defend myself. So don't say it. Don't say it. And it's such a grave movement that André Luiz, in his books, he shows to us the case of a man who is very upset and came to the dream of this other incarnate person saying, I came here because he said bad stuff about me. And that's why many people have insomnia. Because during the day, we're still nonsensical speakers in our daily lives. Again, our friend Adilson these days, he shared a beautiful message we were rereading tonight, Carlos and I, from the book Respostas da Vida. It's about conversations. And he says, when you speak, you're halfway through actually doing what you are talking about. So we need to conquer greater wisdom regarding the force of our words and light up the fire of our love in our hearts, putting ourselves in the shoes of people. Maybe we should speak less, meditate more. You want a documentary to watch? My friend Shane Martin kindly gave us this movie, Walk With Me, which is a kind of a movie documentary with Thich Nhat Hanh and his mindful practice. It's a teaser for us. Maybe that's what we need to do. Meditate more, speak less, much less. Meditate more, speak less, much less. So we can light up the fire of the heart. And as the Dalai Lama said, in a very universal, Christ-conscious thought, in this 21st century, which you're already 2 decades into it already, almost, right? We need more discernment. So Spiritism is perfect fit. And he says we need this ethical discipline in which we restrain ourselves to avoid hurting people. So let us meditate more on this, friends. How can I hurt people less? Maybe by speaking less. So I won't make a mistake in bad-mouthing people, creating slanders, sending negative thoughts, to the point that the other day a friend of mine said, Vanessa, I posted a new picture of mine on Facebook. And do you believe 15 minutes later start feeling the suffocation on my throat? As if somebody was like, ugh. I felt as if somebody was so upset. Do you believe it's possible that somebody was upset seeing my picture? They asked me. And I said, let me think. And in meditation, talking to the spirit mentor, he was recalling the concept of thought as mental electromagnetic force. And he said, yes, it is possible. But tell her to raise her vibration higher so these forces do not reach her. Ask her the intention she had when she posted that picture. Because if the intention was sublime, she will be higher than any envy and jealousy. If the intention was more mundane, she is at the same frequency. She emitted, she's going to receive what she emitted. Food for thought, right? As Teresa Castro is reminding us, I select my thoughts, careful with my words, mindful of my actions. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And Dulcinete story, our friend is saying, Jesus couldn't please people. Who are we to please them? But we must love and respect ourselves and people. You're right, Dulce. Exactly. So for us today to be better interpreters, we need to work on our patience. And we love this concept of patience. Ceaseless work. Building progress and understanding and love that really transforms. This light of love in our hearts that begins with us, right? Peace in the world begins with me. When I so love, I know I'm truly happy. When I give love, when I so love, let's open our hearts. Open our hearts, right? Right, Rihanna, let's say hi to the friends. Lívia Moraes, how are you? Karina Lisi, how are you? Beautiful friends, what a joy to be with you. Rihanna and Nico, big hug, beautiful works. Teresa Catapano, how are you? Léa Severo, what a joy. Adilis Paulo, welcome. Alessandra Jorge, big hug to you and to Márcio. Katia, how are you? Luciana and Tuani, yay! How are you, friends? La Souza, how are you in Long Island? What a joy. Ceisa, beautiful Ceisa, how are you? Ana Paula, oh Paula, big hug to you, Antoni and Barbara. Nora Brazil, how are you? My eternal friend John the Rose, a big hug to you and Nina. Rafael Medeiros, what a joy, Rafael. We received your message. Rafael sent more books to the campaign of the 100 years of the center, the library for the Spiritist Center in Brazil. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sunshine, how are you, Sunshine? Yay! Dulce, how are you? EMC Banks, thank you for being with us. Adilson, what a joy. Silvio Otero, big hug, Silvia. Angelita, Fraternity Without Borders, thank you for being with us. Michelle Now, how are you? Teresa Castro, Rudy, mindfully here and happy and grateful. Thank you, thank you. So friends, today, let us, as Emmanuel says, be faithful interpreting the Lord. We need patience and love. Patience that keeps on working in spite of anything. And love that has that fire, the sacred fire that gives life. Shall we, friends, tomorrow, when we come back, God willing, day 40, chapter 40. Can you believe it? We're almost halfway through the book. Emmanuel is going to talk about words and attitude. Ay, ay, ay. You want a teaser? I'm going to give you a teaser. Oh, yeah. Listen to this. He says, as much as possible, let us write without the obsession of the dictionary. Grammar is the law that presides over the spheres of words. Brain instruction, however, without foundation in the feeling, is similar to outer light. If the verb presents, the attitude directs. What is he talking about? Come back tomorrow because our teacher Emmanuel is with us. He is lighting new discernment on us to live a new life. You're feeling it? Oh, you want a homework? Me too. Let's not forget. What is the homework? Where can I be more loving? Above all, be more loving. Can we practice more loving? Like that Christmas feeling. Christmas is not over. That Christmas love. Shall we? 24 hours, more love. How can I love you more? As Louise Hay in one of our affirmations asks, ask your family members, how can I love you more? Shall we? Thank you, Rudy. Big hug to you. I love you all. Thank you and thank God for bringing us together. Until tomorrow.